Hello, and welcome back to Flip Dish Takeaways, where we bring you insights, tips, and great takeaways from the restaurant and hospitality industry from around the world. I'm your host, Yvonne Morgan. The popularity of poke has massively increased in recent years. The dish, made up of raw diced fish and various accompaniments, was once rarely found outside of Hawaii, but now it's a staple of restaurants across the world. In this episode, I chat to Carlos Ortiz, who brought the concept to Spain when very few had heard of it. With his partner, Guillermo, he opened his first restaurant in Madrid, Aloha Poké. Some customers were initially hesitant, even unsure as to what Carlos and Guillermo were selling, but the concept caught on fast, and now they serve poke around Spain across 25 locations with plans to expand even further. So what is poke, and how do you maintain its authentic Hawaiian origins and flavors while serving an entirely different customer base? Carlos talks us through the challenges he faced in setting up the first Aloha Poke and how his business has thrived in the years since. We also chat about the incredible work that he puts into his plastic-free and zero-waste model, how this ties in with the philosophy of his restaurant, and why all restaurants should be doing the same. And finally, we look at the advantages of poke for food delivery and the future of Aloha. What's in store for the restaurant and the food has quickly become a staple of the casual food scene. So thanks, Carlos, again for joining us at Flip Dish Takeaways. I thought for those who don't know all about Aloha Poke, I thought maybe you could tell us a little bit about you and the story of Aloha Poke.
Yeah, sure. My name is Carlos. I studied a double degree in law and business administration, and I was working in consulting. But then I created, with my partner Guillermo, I created Aloha Poke. Well, the story is that Guillermo was living in LA, in California, 5-6 years ago. So I visited him. He went there for his master's degree, and then he remained there working. So I visited him. He was my friend from many years ago, and I think 5-6 years ago, poke in California was growing a lot. I think many restaurants were opening, and it was a huge hype over there. So he asked me to join him to try this Hawaiian food. For those who doesn't know, poke is a really traditional Hawaiian dish, which is made out of a base of rice mainly, and then some marinated fish, marinated with some sauce like soja and maybe some spicy sauce, and then some vegetables or fruits can be added as toppings. So it's a really healthy dish and a really complete dish. So we looked it up, and there weren't any poke restaurants in Spain, not even in Madrid, but not even in Spain. No? So it started a bit like a joke, because in that moment I was working for Deloitte, for a consulting firm. After 5 or 6 months of working on this idea of bringing poke to Spain, we decided to take action. No? And he moved back to Spain. He moved to Madrid. Guillermo, my partner, he moved to my place, and we started looking for a location in Madrid. So after 1 year, more or less, we found, after 1 year that I was in LA, we found a good location, and we asked for a loan to the bank. We also invested our small savings in our company, and we created Aloha Poké. And we created and we opened our first restaurant in Chueca, which is a neighborhood in Madrid, and it was a huge success. So that's our story.
That's so exciting, and going back to the kind of the origins of poke.
Yeah,
Is there anything that, in your opinion, makes is required when making poke to keep it or maintain its authenticity?
Yeah, I mean, poke, if you go to Hawaii, poke is sold in supermarkets mainly, okay? And what you buy is basically the marinated fish. Some marinated fish, maybe with onion, and not much than that. Maybe you can buy some rice and put this poke on top, but to keep it the more originally possible, you shouldn't add many sauce and many unhealthy toppings. No? So the main thing is to have a very, very fresh fish and then not add many things. But of course, Californian poke, it's more about toppings, it's more about sauce, it's more about combining the bases, combining the fish, combining different sauce. So of course, we try to keep it original, but of course, people love to make their own choices and make their own combinations.
Yeah, and there's probably a food trend that came out around the same time, around kind of the bowl, the concept of bowls, whether it's making your own salad bowls or yogurt bowls and all of those things. So I think a consumer might also lean toward maybe adding a few toppings, just as kind of seeing that's a trend.
We call it bowl mania.
Okay, bowl mania. I like that.
Bowl mania. Yeah. I think that's a huge thing. Yeah.
Okay, great. And so now that when you were opening your first store, which looks, from what I understand, it's evolved to many stores, how did you go about choosing what to put on your menu when you were first opening?
Yeah, of course. This was really important, for example, because in the States or even in California, people love some toppings or some things that maybe you can't find here or that people doesn't like here. No, for example, people in California love cilantro, and in Spain we use more parsley. No, but people in Spain doesn't like cilantro. So you have to be careful. No, we had to be careful on which ingredients bring here and to create the menu. No? But again, the most important thing is fresh fish, and thanks God in Spain we have really good fish, and we have a really long tradition in fish, and people love fish, and that's something that why we knew that poke was going to be a huge thing in Spain, because people love fish and eat fish not every day, but many days a week.
And when you first opened your doors, did you have to do any type of education to your customers or to your communities to tell them about what poke was, or did they already know?
No.
You did.
Of course, okay. No one knew what poke was. So almost all the first year we had to educate people on. People when entered our store, not most, but many people thought we were an ice cream store. Because of how the toppings and everything was arranged. They thought we were an ice cream store, so of course we had to educate everyone on how to create your own poke, how you had to eat it, and everything. Then it's also true that after we opened, many competitors copied us and opened some other stores. So yeah, and now we have a really strong competition here in Spain.
So when a customer walks in the door, what did you find is the most effective way to show them what poke is and how they're meant to experience the food.
Yeah, I think we for example, in the States, the poke stores are usually more takeaway stores, more takeaway restaurants. So, except some of them, usually you can't feel a real experience when you eat in one of those stores because are more made for takeaway. But in our stores, we wanted to create an atmosphere, a nice atmosphere. So our stores are 100 square meters, the average of the stores. So we have also a lot of place to eat inside the restaurants. And we created a really beach and Hawaiian atmosphere. So you can experience all these good vibes and all this healthy atmosphere that we want to transmit to our customers. Yeah.
Very cool. And I was taking a look at your website.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about your mission to rethink fast food for the future.
Yeah.
I thought it was really interesting and wanted to understand more about why you thought to decide to get involved in healthy food instead of perhaps traditional fast food or that model.
Yeah. When we were building our business plan, this was one need that we discovered that Spanish society had, and I think most of developed countries had and have, which is eating fast or eating fast food doesn't have to mean that you have to eat unhealthy food, right? So that's why we created, or we wanted to promote the idea of healthy fast food, right? I think in our society, we are always in a rush, no? And all the time that we have and the time we spend to eat and everything is going faster and faster, and we wanted to promote this, no? To promote that you can eat healthy even if you want to eat fast. And this is something that nobody did before in Spain. Nobody talked before in Spain about this, no? About eating fast but healthy.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's really important because food affects us, affects our productivity, affects our mental health, affects our emotions and how we feel, and we have to promote better ways of eating and better ways of eating and eating also cheap, because the good thing about poke is not only that it's a very versatile dish, it's also that it's affordable. You can eat a poke bowl with a drink for 13, 14 euros, and it's a whole food. You don't have to eat anything else because it has everything you need. It has carbohydrates, it has protein, it has vitamins with all the vegetables and all the fruits. So it's a very, very complete dish, and you can eat it. We can prepare it in less than 3-4 minutes because how we designed our tables, work tables, and how we designed all the processes. A poke bowl can be built in 3 minutes, and you can eat it in 5, 10, 15 minutes, and you are eating healthy and in a not very expensive dish.
Yeah, so fast and healthy for me is something that's kind of the perfect combination for what I look for, and I think your offering is healthy, and it ties in nicely with the other kind of message that you've brought forward, which is all around being eco-friendly. So what sort of work, or can you maybe share a little bit more about what you do to support that effort?
Yeah. At the beginning, we were using normal plastic for the food to take away, because of course we have a strong delivery rate. Maybe 50% of our sales are delivery or takeaway, and the other 50% is in restaurant consume. So at the beginning we were using plastic, and then we wanted to be coherent. We wanted to be we wanted to make sense, because we can't promote all these Hawaiian philosophy and Hawaiian values of good vibes, connection to nature, and all this philosophy can't be addressed with having plastic and wasting a lot of plastic in the restaurant. So we wanted to be coherent, and we changed, even if it costed, because of course it's much more expensive. We changed all the plastic that we had and that we used in our restaurants. We changed it for bioplastic, PLA, which are biodegradable, and this it looks like plastic, but it's not plastic. It's made out with corn, with the corn waste, and with this corn waste they make this material that looks like plastic, but it's not. And of course it was a economically bad decision, because it's costly. It costs much more than plastic, but we wanted to be coherent with our values and with our mission, and we wanted to help a bit, because of course zero waste, that we talk a lot about zero waste, and we all try to reduce waste, food waste especially. It's very difficult to talk about zero waste in a fast food restaurant, because since people buy to take away their food, you have to give them somewhere to eat it. No? So it's hard to become zero waste. No? Maybe in a restaurant where you don't have delivery, where you don't have takeaway, you can reach that point of zero waste. But in fast food and in a restaurant made for delivery and takeaway, it's really, really difficult. So at least if you can't reach that point, at least we are going to try to make our best for climate change and for sustainability.
Yeah, and I think, it is, like you said, it can be a more costly approach, especially, when you're not a fine dining restaurant, so you probably have a bit of a goal to obviously put forth volume as well, and the volume of orders would be important.
Yeah,
so
you will always have to use packaging, but at least try that packaging to be. We're trying that packaging to be the most sustainable possible, which is these bioplastics.
And what was the response? What was the response to this from your customers?
On the one hand, it was amazing because they loved it, because many of them were already asking. We did this maybe 2 years ago. Most of them were already asking this, and but still we still normally get some bad reviews or whatever, because people think it's plastic, because when you use paper packaging, you can really see that it's paper. But when you use these bioplastics, you can't tell that it's not plastic. So we still get some negative reviews of people complaining that we are using plastics, but it's okay. We always answer, and we always respond them and explain them that these are not plastic, but that is biodegradable.
Yeah, it sounds like a challenge, but it also, I love that you're kind of standing your ground and holding to what you believe in and what you know that your customers expect from your brand, and the kind of the complete ethos of your brand and your offering to your customers. So I think that's great. I know that you also do have a catering business. And it requires a lot of packaging. So what alternatives do you use in order to remain plastic free, and have there been any challenges in that part of your business?
At the beginning of Aloha, when people ate in our restaurants, we were also serving with plastics, the packaging of the dishes. But then we changed it and we put some plates, bowls, and now the people who eat in the restaurant doesn't use one-use packaging, so they use our normal dish. So of course, which is something a bit strange in fast food, because if you go to a big burger chain, you will have the same packaging that they give you when you buy it to take away or when you buy it to eat in delivery. But we use a reusable dish in our restaurants. Yeah.
And in an effort to be or having zero waste within the restaurant, are there any decisions that you have to make in terms of what ingredients that you have in on your menu or in your dishes?
We wanted to reduce a lot food waste, which is a huge problem in our society. In developed countries, food waste is a huge problem. So we designed a system to measure well and to measure, which is something that every restaurant should do, no? But we designed some systems to calculate very well what we were going to put in our tables in order not to have to throw to waste food, no? And then we also collaborate with apps like Too Good To Go. So the few remaining food that hasn't been sold at the end of the day, we can sell it through these apps for much less price at the end of the day. So maybe you can buy some of the things that you will not be able to use the day after with a 80-90% discount. So we wanted to reduce almost to zero our food waste. Of course, there's always going to be some food waste, because if you want to use an avocado, of course, to cut it and everything, you have to throw away some of the avocado, no? But of course, we wanted to reduce it, and it's the same thing. It's because we wanted to be coherent with our philosophy. We wanted to be coherent with our values.
And you have what's the number of stores that you have now?
Now we have 25 stores.
25 stores.
Yeah.
So across 25 stores, trying to remain waste-free sounds like it's quite the challenge. For other restaurateurs who are listening in, is there any advice that you would give to others who are looking or seeking to take this approach?
Yeah, of course. In terms of food waste, it's something about also profitability, no? So it's something that every restaurant must address if they care about their margin, their gross margin. And and it will help them to reduce product cost a lot. So economically, it's really, really important, and everyone should address food waste. And also, I think packaging, everyone should. Some countries are already forbidding plastic use packaging, which is great. And I think every restaurant should try to find other ways of selling and delivering the food to their customers. There are many good alternatives to plastic, not only bioplastics like we use, but also paper and other alternatives. And I think it's something that your clients are going to say thank you to you. It's more expensive than plastic, of course, but it's something that in the end it's going to help all of us, society, your children, future generations, and also your clients are going to thank these actions.
Absolutely, and you seem to make it very easy. You make it sound very easy. I wanted to touch on a comment that you made earlier around 50% of your business is delivery.
Yeah.
I find that quite unique, or it's unique, but it's also so interesting for a poke restaurant. And probably from my own personal experiences and in getting other things delivered, poke is, as you mentioned, it's a fresh, cold meal to be delivered.
Yeah.
How do you, from an operational perspective, how do you approach that to make sure you're delivering the best product to your customers?
Yeah, I mean, thanks God, poke, it's a perfect product for delivery. As you said, it's not like a pizza that maybe it delivers to you not well in a wet condition. It really depends on how the rider rides his moto or his bicycle. Poke is a really, really perfect product for delivery because it's already cold. It's you don't have to take a lot of care on how it arrives to. Of course, if you throw the bag to the floor, it's gonna suffer. But normally it's a perfect dish for delivery because you don't have to do anything. It's not hot. It's perfect, no? And that's why most of the poke restaurants have this high rate of delivery in their sales, right? And of course, it's important that the packaging it's prepared for this. And we already knew when we created Aloha, we already knew that we were going to have a really important delivery rate. And maybe we didn't think 50%, but we thought maybe 20-25%. It turned out to be 50%, but yeah, I mean, it's a really, really, it's like sushi. It's really easy to eat it at home because of the preparation of the dish. It's perfect for delivery.
And that's great. It's enabled you to rescale or to scale to 22 locations. Are these all brick and mortar retail locations or any other type of models that you have?
Yeah, we basically have retail locations. We don't really believe in the dark kitchen model. I mean, we believe and we have been developing other brands to make a multi-brand or multi-virtual brands in our own kitchens, but we don't believe in going to dark stores or dark kitchen with one brand. But yeah, of course, delivery is in our DNA, and it's really important, and it has made us to arrive our product to many customers, and it has helped us to reach many places in Spain, and yeah, it's been part of our expansion, and it has changed also the way we design kitchens. For example, of course, when we made our first store, the kitchen was really small, and then we realized that as the delivery rate was so high, we needed more space in our kitchens to prepare all these dishes, to not to have to prepare them in front of the client, but to prepare the delivery behind in the kitchen, and also to create special places inside, place inside our stores to give the product to the riders, and all this. Yeah, of course, it has changed a lot the way we designed now our restaurants, and that's why I say that delivery is part of our DNA.
And you hinted at something that I wanted to get to around. You said there's potentially some new brands that are cooking within your stores.
Yeah.
And also, I wanted to ask about just kind of broader or more general expansion and where you see Aloha Poké going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think since delivery is growing more and more, having different brands inside your kitchen, it's a must. Of course, it's a way of creating synergies, and it's a way to optimize your places, and especially this year with all that happened, and some months delivery, because of the restrictions we had in restaurants or during COVID, delivery in some stores reached 80-90%, because of course people had to be at home, and there were a lot of restrictions that people couldn't be later than 9-10 p.m. in the streets. We also had many restrictions of how many people could enter our stores. So delivery was even promoted even more. I think right now we have our focus on reaching all the major cities in Spain. So right now we have 25 stores, but I think we could, in the 2-3 next years, we would like to reach 50 stores. That's more or less our strategic plan right now, to open 25 more stores in the next 2-3 years. So we will see when we will reach that point. Maybe we want to go to other countries. Maybe we want to create other brands. Maybe we want to open other stores. But for the moment, our focus is Aloha, and our plan is to be in most of the Spanish cities.
Well, let me know when you come to Dublin. So I can,
Great.
so I can taste your food, or I'll come to Spain. That's probably a more better looking opportunity from my side, selfishly.
Probably is cheaper.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you so much. That's it for this week's episode of Flip Dish Takeaways. If you'd like to find out more, please visit our website at flipdish.com. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to hit subscribe wherever you're listening. See you next time.